Hello. So what we're going to work on today is we're going to work on our Kirigami. So we're going to start with our um, paper in the long orientation. So you're going to hold your paper the long way. And then you're going to fold the bottom edge up away from you and just that. Line up the corners so that they match up. You're going to hold the edges and then smooth that crease with your thumbs. Okay. If you notice that the edges of the paper up here move while you're making that crease, just try one more time while you're holding those edges in place with your fingers and then smooth with your thumbs. And then just to make that crease, as long as you check that your corners match really well, you can use a ruler to make sure that crease is nice and sharp. And you can just see what happens when I smooth the crease with my ruler is it makes that crease nice and sharp. Okay, so remember we're holding it like this. We folded the bottom edge up like this. Okay, and then we're going to take the top edge, just the front layer. Okay, just the front layer, and we're going to fold that down to the bottom edge. Okay, and we can smooth the crease when we're done making all the folds. There's just one more fold to do, so you're just going to grab that paper, you're going to flip it over and take the top edge and fold it down to match the bottom edge. Make sure your corners really just exactly lined up, and then you're going to it's a good idea to use some fingers to hold the edge down and then the others to start the crease. And then we can use the edge of our ruler or even like a pencil to smooth that out so that you get these nice sharp creases. And you should end up with something that looks sort of like a W, or if you hold it the other way, it looks like an M on the end. Okay, that's the first step. Second step is we're going to draw a 1/4 inch margin on both sides of this folded paper that we have. So it doesn't matter which way you hold it, but you want to make sure that you do it the long way. So I'm holding it right like this. You're going to find the 1/4 inch mark on your ruler. Okay, on this ruler, this is the 0 line here. So I need to make sure that I start measuring there. And then this is my 1/4 inch mark. Now I put a pencil mark on my ruler just to visually remind myself where the 1/4 inch line is. But if you look here, okay, so this is the 0 mark, and then we have 1/16, 2/16, that's 1/8, 3/16, and this is 2/8 or 1/4 or 4/16. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the 1/4 inch mark. If you have a different ruler, you might have a ruler that has a different type of mark on it. This ruler is marked in eighths. Okay, so we have the 0, which is here. This edge of the ruler is here. And then this is 1/8 and this is 2/8, which is the same as 1/4. So this is going to be my 1/4 inch line. Okay. You also might have a ruler that has, if you're lucky, that has 1/16 of an inch or 30/2 of an inch. So this is my 0 line. And then we have 30/2 of an inch. So each one of these teeny tiny lines, there's 32 of them in here. So if you wanted to get a 1/4 out of it, you'd have 8 30/2. That's the same as a 1/4. Okay, so you've got 1/16, 2/16, which is an eighth, 3/16, and then 1/4 is right there. That's your 1/4 inch line. So we're going to make 1/4 inch margins down either side. So what you're going for is something that looks like this. Okay, It's got a 1/4 inch margin. So the way you do a margin and drawing a margin in this class, when we do rapid prototyping, which is like making cardboard or paper models of the design ideas that we have, which we do a lot of in this class, drawing a margin is a really important skill to have. So what you're going to do is you're going to place the 1/4 inch line on the edge of the paper, and then you're going to mark a very tiny vertical mark, very tiny mark right above the 0 line on the ruler. Okay, so you don't want to draw on the edge of this ruler because this edge of the ruler is not 0. On my other ruler, the edge of the ruler is 0. Okay, so this edge is 0, or this edge is 0. You can see my corners here a little bit bent. The metal edges kind of can get bent. So we're going to put that mark there, and then we're going to drag our ruler down a little bit, about halfway down the paper, and we're going to do another mark there. This is just going to make sure that when we do our margin, that it's straight and it's always a 1/4 inch away from the edge of the page. And we drag our ruler down a little bit, almost to the bottom, and do another mark there. So all of these marks are all a 1/4 inch. And then we're going to use our ruler and basically play connect the dots. So we're going to line up our ruler along all these 3 dots here. Make sure. Looks like maybe my middle dot was a little bit further away from the edge. I'm going to do a really light line just to make sure that they're all connected really well. And if that looks good, I'm going to darken that line a little bit. Okay, so that's one of my 1/4 inch margins. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so we're going to take, now I'm showing you the way what I would do it as a, I'm right-handed. If you need to reverse anything, if you're left-handed, you can, but this should work for either way, either handedness, if you're left or right-handed. So I'm going to line up that ruler. Now this time I'm going to line up the 0 mark, right? Because if I line up that, I can't make a mark at 1/4 inch. So I'm going to line up that 0 mark with the edge of my paper, and then I'm going to mark it at 1/4 inch. Slide my ruler down. Same thing. And then I'm going to connect the dots again. Make sure it's nice and straight. That looks good. I'm going to darken it up. And notice I drew my margin line right off the edge of the paper there. So that's the end of how to make your 1/4 inch margins. And that is part 1.